seem like someone who's gone through a lot of personal suffering. Have you made sense of it?
Presence.
Presence.
Um, you know, one thing I know is that when I sing, everything's okay.
Mm,
When I'm chanting, everything's okay. I can deal with it. Whether that means, and I don't mean only chanting with peoples. When I'm when I'm centered, when that's happening within me, when I remember what is, whatever happens is dealable with. If I don't remember, it is not dealable with. So the chanting reminds me over and over what is real and what is important. It keeps bringing me back home again and again and again. And you get used to being at home, so you don't go so far away.
yeah.
You realize everything's already here. Icebox is full of Haagen-Dazs. There's Cheerios in the cupboard. What do you need? Almond milk in the refrigerator. Why go to the store? Everything's here.
Yeah. What happens to you when you're chanting that brings, I mean, what do you think, because you've been chanting for so long, and maybe this is a mind question, but have you ever thought about what's actually happening that allows me, and you said part of it earlier, that part of it is you're just letting go of your thoughts. It's
Hmm.
just, but
That, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
what's
I don't
happening?
usually talk about that. I don't usually talk about that because that just puts more thoughts in a person's head, and then they think, well, I'm not doing this right, or I should be feeling this or feeling that. Just pay attention. See what's there. The
Hmm.
more you do it, the more you feel. What you feel is completely your own thing.
Mm,
I mean, although everybody is essentially aiming in the same place, we experience it differently
hmm.
according to what our lives have been and who we are right now and what's going on.
Right. So your chanting changes over time, like what it means to you and
Of
how
course.
it's worked is.
Sure.
I guess if the chanting is your connection with your divinity or the divinity within all of us, then I guess that would change, wouldn't it, over time?
The more you, the more comfortable you feel in your own heart, in your own being, uh, what you see outside changes.
Mm,
It's as if we were born in the middle of the night
hmm.
and we walked into the world and we think, oh, wow, this is it. This is the world, right? You can't see a foot in front of yourself. You can't tell who's coming to you out of the darkness until they're like right there, you know? But as the sun begins to rise, little by little, more light comes into the world. And you go, wow, I didn't see that tree before. I didn't see that hole in the ground. I didn't see this, what you see actually changes.
Hmm. Mm,
How you see actually changes.
hmm.
Actually, not how you see, but what you see
Yeah,
changes. And the more the lighter it gets, the more you see, the more it changes, the differently you feel.
yeah,
That's just a metaphor, but the sense is that it's a very natural change.
yeah.
As we clean the mirror of our hearts, when we look into that mirror, what we see changes.
Hmm.
And the thing is, what we see outside is essentially a mirror.
Hmm.
You could say it's our projections. There's really nothing solid out there except we're all kind of locked into a particular wavelength,
Hmm.
bandwidth, and what we see is very dictated by that bandwidth. So as we move more deeply into ourselves and our minds are less aggressive in labeling and evaluating and etc. ourselves and others and what's out there, uh, how, how we perceive the world and ourselves actually changes.
Hmm.
And until you have that experience, you can't really describe it. I mean, you can talk about it and you go, yeah, that's nice, wow. But when you start to realize that that's what's happening, everything, oh, that's what it is. And very,
I'm creating my own reality.
well, That's also an interesting statement. You know, people say, you know, people say things like that, and I try to remind them, well, the I that you're talking about at that point is really me, and me doesn't create the reality.
Hmm.
I creates the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Being creates the reality. Our soul, if that essence is what um, we're provided with, what we need to get free. What's in front of our face is the work that we have to do. It's not a mistake. It's not. It's not. We're not in somebody else's dream. This is ours, and that's the good news and the bad news.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the other good news and bad news is that, you know, nobody has to do it for you, but nobody can do it for you. So that's the good news and the bad news. So there's a lot of good news and bad news. You know, it's the same news, but depends on how you look at it.
All right, I'm going to